Hello students, hope you're doing good. And as we have already discussed the poem Night of the Scorpion, its text in the class. And in today's lecture, I'm going to tell you mainly about the themes of the poem. And basically, this lecture is divided into three parts. Part one will discuss about the poet Nassim Ezekiel as a poet, and then uh, in part second we will discuss about the brief idea of the poem The Scorpion Knight, and in part third we will discuss about the themes of the poem. So without any further delay, let's start the lecture. So dear students, as I told you that Nassim Ezekiel, he's an Indian writer, and he writes poetry in English, right? And then he has many uh, talents, like he was a playwright, critic, editor, and actor. So what you need to know that he was a very good poet, and he was the pioneer of Indian poetry in English, right? Pioneer कौन होता है जो किसी भी चीज़ को शुरू करने में one who sets the foundation for anything. So he is one of the pioneers, of Indian poetry in English. So उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से पोइट्री को स्टडी करा इंग्लैंड में और इंडिया में भी. और उसके बाद हिज इंटरेस्ट इन पोइट्री, you can see his interest in poetry, uh, by reading his poem Background Casually. This is his poem, which is bit autobiographical. And in this poem, but he says, this is very important line you need to remember: philosophy, poverty, and poetry, three companions shared my basement room. राइट. सो कंपेनियन मीन्स फ्रेंड्स. सो बोलता है कि ये तीन मेरे दोस्त हैं, एक फिलोसफी है, एक पॉवर्टी है, और तीसरा पोइट्री है. सो you can read this poem fully, it will help you to know better, you know to Nassim Ezekiel as a poet. And then in his poetry you will find that his writing, he mostly experimental. He wrote poems which are experimental, which has some traditional themes, modernist themes, then secularism is there, and then some religious poems, right? So he has included all these things in his poetry, right? So for his poetry collection Latter Day Psalms, this is also very important, you need to remember, he also got Sahitya Academy Award in 1983. And he, as I told you, that he was also editor. So he has edited many magazines such as Quest, Imprint, Poetry in India, and the Indian Pen. This is very important. So I have for you, I have included some poems in this lecture which are very important. And being a student of English literature, you must know about these poems, but I will not uh, uh, discuss these things here. My focus is on this poem, The Night of the Scorpion. So for your knowledge, you can read all these things, right? And then I have also included poetry collections. You can read these poems, you can read these collections for exam point of view. If you are preparing for any competitive exams like net set, you can, you need to remember this poetry, need to remember the names of these poetry collections, right? And their publications, their chronology, right? Then I will talk about introduction of the poem uh, द नाइट ऑफ द स्कॉर्पियन. जैसा हमने क्लास में डिस्कस करा था कि ये जो पोएम है ये 1965 में पब्लिश होती है. इसकी पोइट्री कलेक्शन थी एक एग्जैक्ट मैन उसमें, और इट इज़ अ नरेटिव पोएम. ये क्या होता है नरेटिव पोएम? नरेटिव पोएम इज़ अ पोएम विच टेल्स अस सम स्टोरी, राइट? सो द पोएम विच इज़ रिटन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ स्टोरी, जो एक स्टोरी की फॉर्म में लिखी होती है, दैट पोएम इज अ नरेटिव पोएम. सो इट टेल्स अस, द नरेटर हियर इज a son, and he tells about, he recalls one stormy तूफान वाली डार्क और रेनी नाइट को याद करता है, when he was a little child, छोटा बच्चा था जब, and he remembers that his mother was stung by a poisonous scorpion. एक जहरीला बिच्छू उसको काट देता है उसकी मदर को, और उसके बाद वो गुम हो जाता है. इतने में, following this incident, his mother faces severe pain, and because of this this poisonous scorpion. Following this incident, the villagers assembled at the house of the narrator to save the mother. सो बहुत सारे लोग वहाँ पे इकट्ठे होते हैं. असेंबल्ड मीन्स इकट्ठे होते हैं, और इकट्ठे होने के बाद इकट्ठे हुए एज ही इज थिंकिंग अबाउट द पास्ट इंसिडेंट. सो इट हैज दिस पोएम हैज बीन रिटन इन पास्ट टेंस, राइट? सो व्हाट दे डिड, that they yelled God's name constantly to tame the poison. इस पॉइजन को, जहर को कंट्रोल करने के लिए, कि उसकी मदर की बॉडी में पूरा ना फैल जाए, इसलिए वो क्या कर रहे हैं, बार बार भगवान का नाम दबा, बार बार उसको जोर जोर से ले रहे हैं, नाम ले रहे हैं. बिकॉज दे हैव सम सुपरस्टिशियस बिलीव्स कि जैसे अगर हम ऐसा करेंगे तो इससे वो जो जहर है बिच्छू का, वो उसकी मदर की बॉडी में फैलने से उसको रोक सकते हैं. And at the same time they also keep chanting some mantras to lessen the effects of the poison. वो उसको जहर को कम करने के लिए कुछ मंत्रास को भी चांट करते हैं. बट देयर सुपरस्टिशियस आइडियाज डिडंट वर्क. और इतने में क्या होता है, वहाँ पे उनका एक जो नरेटर है उनका फादर है, और वो फादर साहब उनके क्या करते हैं, ही अप्लाइड सम मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट, जिसमें क्या होता है, कुछ पाउडर है, कुछ हर्ब्स हैं, जड़ी बूटियाँ हैं, और वो उनको अप्लाई करता है किस पे, जो मदर का, जहाँ पे उसको काटा गया था वहाँ पे. और फाइनली हिज रैशनल अप्रोच, जो उसके फादर हैं उनकी जो रैशनल अप्रोच है वो काम करती है, एंड शी रिकवर्ड कम्प्लीटली आफ्टर 20 आवर्स, एंड द पॉइजन्स सिम्टम्स बैनिश्ड अवे फ्रॉम हर बॉडी, राइट? खत्म हो जाते हैं वो जो सिम्टम्स थे पॉइजन वाले. आज शी ओपनड हर आईज शी शोड अनवेवरिंग एंड सेल्फलेस मदरली लव फॉर हर चिल्ड्रन. कैसे वो अपने बच्चों के लिए जो उसका प्यार है, उसको जहर करते हुए क्या बोलती है कि थैंक गॉड द स्कॉर्पियन पिक्ड ऑन मी एंड स्पेयर्ड माय चिल्ड्रन. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लाइन, you need to remember it, right? So you can see that this is the brief idea, brief corrects of the poem, and you can understand what the poet wants to tell you, and on the basis of it you can find out some themes of the poem. So the most important themes of the poem, one is superstitious beliefs, as the villagers have this, they believe that with some mantras they can lessen the fact, lessen the effect of poison, and by yelling God's name constantly, they can also do that, they can also lessen the effect of poison. But actually that didn't work. So that's how the poet has tried to show you that how superstitious beliefs work. And then rationalism, you can see that how narrator's father, he was a rationalist, and he applied some medical treatment to get the recovery of narrator's mother. And then cruelty of the nature against mankind, you can see that how this poisonous scorpion stung to the mother, and how she faces severe pain because of this. So how the writer has tried to depict that how the nature is cruel for mankind. Then selfless love of mother for her children, you can see with the last line, as I have mentioned here, that just after when she opens her eyes and gets conscious, so what she says that thanks God the scorpion picked on me and spared my children. So she was worried about her children, and it shows her affection and love for her children. And then traditionalism versus modernism, because traditional approach which the villagers have, and modern approach, modernism, like applying medical treatment and all. So this is how it works in the poem, how this theme prevails in the poem. Then humanitarian spirit of the villagers, that how they come out for how they come out to help the narrator's mother. So it shows that how much humanity the people have. So then rural Indian culture, it has also been shown in the poem, because the poem also highlights some glimpses of, that how they live there, how the narrator, how they live in a small room, and what kind of lifestyle the people have, and how they have some superstitious beliefs. So everything, all these things show that show the Indian culture, rural Indian culture. And then conclusion, so you can see that the poet has highlighted some important themes in the poem, like ill effects of superstitions. Ill effects means बुरे परिणाम जो होते हैं. Then importance of rationality, that how important the rationality is. Then selfless of love of mother for her children in the Indian society. Humanitarian and sportive spirit of the rural India, and so on. So these are the important themes. So what you people need to do, that just note down all these things, and try to memorize these things for your exam point of view. And we will discuss in detail in the class, but before that, you people must have the idea about this poem, and about the themes which I have mentioned here. So note down all these things, and we will discuss in tomorrow's class. So thank you so much, and we will very soon we will meet again, with another video. Till then, bye bye, take care, thank you so much.